to be honest, Truman been that way. If you guys are new here, my name is Ashley and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related. And we are back to talk about Feud, Capote versus the Swans, episode 3, Masquerade 1966. And Truman been Truman. Now, whether or not the ladies open their eyes to see, kind of behooves me, but he has been this person, y'all. It shouldn't have been a surprise. It shouldn't have been a surprise. And I'm going to just set it right there, you guys. So basically, this episode was all about a flashback to 1966, where Truman throws a black and white ball at the plaza, darling, okay? Where the who's who of New York society is going to be there. And it's really in a celebration of his ascendance into notoriety, off the heels of, I believe, one of his first books being published, okay? And so that's what it's about. And also, we have a film crew that is following him around to do a documentary. And these are the Maisel brothers, right? And honestly, they say, from what I've read in my little research, is that the Maisel brothers did in fact do a documentary on Truman Capote, but it was not around this ball. It was around his work in Cold Blood, and it was really just about his ascendance into notoriety, right? It had nothing really to do with the ball, but hey, we love a good story. So do what you got to do, people, to tell me a good story. And so in this episode, we see that a lot of this documentary is focusing around the Swans and Truman getting ready for the ball. Now, I will say that if you wanted to go and find the original documentary, the title of it is With Love from Truman. Okay. And so basically, we know with everything that Truman does, it's going to be theatrical. And of course, he's got to have the help of his swans. And so early on, he's like, this is going to be elite. It's going to be amazing. The best party ever. And I'm going to have a guest of honor that I will reveal the night of. So immediately, all of the swans are thinking, it's got to be me. It's got to be me. That's how they felt. Okay. They knew it was going to be them, all for different reasons. So, of course, Babe is instrumental in the planning of the party, from picking the paper stock that the invitations are going to be on, to determining what the food is going to be, the color of the tablecloths. And actually, while planning and while they are at the plaza, one of the young ladies, I guess, who's going to be coordinating the event, honey, done slept with Bill. And so immediately Babe is having a fit, but mind you, cameras are following, but Truman always leaving the door open, honey, always wanting to capture these moments, right? Where the Swans ran to him for solace. And of course, I think in the moment, Truman did provide good advice some of the time, but we knew, I think they had to know there's some ulterior motive, because Truman was messy. He liked some mess, y'all. He liked some mess, all right? And so basically all of the Swans, either leading up to the ball or during the ball, had some form of drama, right? And so with CZ, which we know is really Truman's champion in the last episode, I mean, as much as she can be up to a certain point, we find that she kind of had like a little bit of a risque past, where she was living in Mexico and living her best life, honey, and getting naked pictures painted of her, all the things. And during this event, actually, there's an IRS seizure because her husband's business has gotten into trouble. And so they are seizing her assets and she is falling apart. Of course, the camera crew's there. And of course, Truman wants them there. Capture this. Okay. But again, she relies on him. And so, of course, they ask her, do you think you're the guest of honor? And she's like, it would be a nice gesture. I think he would, in solidarity and support of me. It wasn't CZ. Next, we have Slim, of course, and she arrives, honey, and she's giving. Okay, fashion. She said, I taught Truman the difference between fashion and style. Okay, so let's just sit that right there. But she comes serving all of the looks, giving everything. And basically, she discovers that Truman has invited her ex-husband's new wife, Pamela, and it's a problem. It's a problem. So she's cussing and fussing in the back room, and yet Truman leaves the door open because film crew go ahead and record this as well. Okay. And of course, Truman had a way of calming them down, getting them together, and still getting his way. Just shady boots. Okay. Next, we saw the night of the ball, or the ball, and his mystery guest, of course, comes in her mask and all of the things, and it turns out that it's Katharine Graham of the Washington Post, who, again, at the time wasn't really in society. She was kind of not an outcast, but she was not in the inner circle. So this was a surprise to everyone. But of course, everyone took it on the nose and said, yes, I understand it. I know why he did it. It would have been too, whatever. We also find out in this episode, really the deepness of the connection, or the feelings that Babe had for Truman. Babe was going to buy him a house just so he could be closer to her. Like, she loved Truman. She loved him. And it's really devastating to think that he would ruin that. You know what I mean? And so finally, honey, Anne, because we know this is a flashback, so she's still alive. She comes with her son to the party, crashes the party. Why did she do that? When I tell you Truman showed his whole behind, as it relates to Anne, Anne tried to appeal to his better nature and says, Truman, you always told me that I reminded you of your mother, and you couldn't put your mother out of a party, so I know you wouldn't put me out of one. And the son chimes in and says, Mom, I thought he invited us. Truman, I thought she invited us to the party. And he says, no. And he's like, just like my mama, you're bad. You're a terrible mother. You're a terrible mother. You killed your husband. You don't deserve to be here. Now please leave. So, no grace given, none extended. And we can see the grossness of this relationship, how it had dissipated, or I guess devolved. But my thing is, she said what she said, right? The slur about him. But is that it? Because there seems something more so deep rooted about this. And maybe it was because she reminded him so much of his mother. And so, of course, towards the end of the episode, we get another hallucination, right, of his mom, played by Jessica Lange. And, Truman, you've done it. You've arrived, son. This is the party to end all parties. You're everything. And again, it's still this inner battle, I think, of wanting to be pleasing to her, even though it seems he hated her. You guys put your comments below, honey. But that was my take on episode 3, Masquerade 1966. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. And if you're here exclusively for Feud content, y'all will see me, honey, when the next episode comes out. I'm going to try to do these. They air on Hulu the day after. So I think it's like Thursday morning when they're on Hulu. So I'll try to have these up by Thursday nights. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.